Revolution. And in fact, that is the subject of today's talk, the Sorcerers' Revolution. So from the book Encounters with the Nagual by Armando Torres, there was a dialogue between him and Carlos about the path of the warrior. And this is what Carlos said to Armando. The tragedy of today's man is not his social condition, but the lack of will to change himself. It is very easy to design collective revolutions, but to genuinely change, to put an end to self-pity, to erase the ego, to abandon our habits and whims. That's something else entirely. Sorcerers say that true rebellion and humanity's only way out as a species is to stage a revolution against their own stupidity. As you can understand, this is solitary work. The goal of Sorcerers is this Sorcerers' Revolution, the unrestricted unfolding of all our perceptual possibilities. I have never known a greater revolutionary than my teacher. He didn't just suggest changing tortillas for bread. Oh no, he went straight to the core of the matter. He proposed a deadly somersault of thought to the unknown, the release from all ties, and he demonstrated that it is possible. He suggested that I fill my life with decisions of power, with strategies which will bring me to awareness. He taught me that the order of the world doesn't have to be as we've been told, that I can toss it aside any time. I am not obliged to uphold an image before others or live in an inventory that doesn't suit me. My battlefield is the path of the warrior. So, this is a revolutionary concept. Don Juan is saying, Don Juan, as Carlos said, is the greatest revolutionary. He's the greatest revolutionary because he's talking about a completely revolutionary idea of revolution. It's a new idea. It's not about subverting the existing social order. It's not about going into the mountains with your army and trying to overthrow some right-wing tyranny. Not that. So this type of revolution is a revolution of the spirit of consciousness. This is the Sorcerer's Revolution. It's a revolution in the way we perceive the world. It's a revolution in the way we think. It's a revolution in the way we act. It's a revolution in the way we talk. So, it's a new idea of revolution, and nobody will get killed in the process. So, to be a sorcerer is to undergo this revolution of consciousness, of awareness, of perception, of possibilities. And we need a path. That path is the path of the warrior, as demonstrated in the Carlos Castaneda books. The techniques that one needs to practice as a warrior, sorcerer, on a journey to find the totality of himself, oneself. Because women and men are no different here. In the world of sorcerers, all are equal. So women have as much chance to become impeccable warriors as men do. It's all a question of will and discipline. The discipline to police our mind, discipline to not allow negativity into our thoughts and awareness and perceptions. Because when negative mind states get a hold, like worry, anxiety, depression, despair, disappointment, guilt, fear, shame, any kind of negative thought or feeling is going to compromise our energy. And it is our energy that we are trying to cultivate. It is our energy that we are trying to grow. And this revolution of awareness and perception is also a revolution of energy. It's a transformation of energy, of personal power. So, Don Juan said to Carlos in one of the books that a sorcerer does things by hours. He does everything by hours. And as far as the current scientific studies go, it requires 10,000 hours to master anything, to master any skill. So, why should mastering the art of awareness or the art of stalking, why should the skill that is sorcery or the art that is sorcery be any different? We need to put the hours in, just as a junior doctor needs to put all the hours in at medical school before he's qualified, before he obtains a medical degree. A sorcerer has to put in the hours of energy work, the hours of strategy, the hours of bodily discipline, of exercise, of policing the mind. Now, my mentor, my teacher said that meditation is a 24-hour-a-day thing. It's not just something you do when you're sitting down on your meditation cushion, trying to still the mind, forget about your anxieties and your troubles, problems, etc. It's rather that this meditation practice continues into your everyday lives. So it's something that you're doing all the time through the practice of mindfulness, trying to accommodate the entire contents of the world, universe, awareness into your consciousness all at once. This is indeed a revolution. Now, this is no easy undertaking. It's not simply a matter of ingesting a power plant and you're home and dry. You've learned everything about awareness during the average length of a psychedelic trip. No, you can learn great things in a matter of 6 hours or 12 hours with LSD or 6 hours with psilocybin mushrooms or ayahuasca. You can learn great things, but you don't have the time to master the skills that are necessary to reach those states under ordinary circumstances. You would be required to be intoxicated for the rest of your life, and you wouldn't be able to function. So the tonal and the nagual have to be in balance. You can't just hang out in the spirit world all day long talking to entities and think that you've made it as a sorcerer while ignoring all of the responsibilities of daily life. Because the tonal is also part of the sorcerer's life. It's one half of it, the other half being the nagual. I was going to point this way, but I'm pointing that way because it's to the left, although that's your left, unless this video is reversed, it probably is. So, the left and right awareness, the logical, rational, intellectual side, and the spiritual side, the mystical side, the consciousness side, the awareness side. That side which man doesn't tend to develop in the Western world because we think it's not important. We would rather spend and invest all our time and energy on material things, on experiences and entertainments, and that only brings us half of life. Even if we acquire all the resources and material possessions in the tonal, we will still only be living half an existence. If we cannot master the tonal, it won't even be half. It'll be less than half. So one needs a great deal of personal power. Now, what is personal power? What does it mean? Why is it that some people seem to radiate power? I mean, rare though they are. They might not even be doing anything very active, and yet they radiate power. Now, what do we mean when we say power? What is power? Is it control over others? Is it social status or political influence? I say again, I repeat, if you have that type of power, or you're after that type of power, and you attain all of that type of power, you will have it, but it will only be half of the total power. The other half belongs to the Nagual, or the spirit, or energy. And it is exactly energy, the currency of consciousness, which you must cultivate in the other half. So, the tonal, your social obligations, your practical affairs, your business obligations, your job, career, whatever you're doing to bring in the bread or not, as the case may be, whatever it is your source of income, you want to be able to manage that side of life very well, impeccably as well. Because if it's not, you will go flying off into the spirit worlds, into the Nagual, without a firm grounding, and you're likely to lose your marbles. You're likely to go psychotic, to experience mental derangement. This is what happens to a lot of warriors on the path who do not balance the tonal and Nagual. So you've been warned. But if you do go crazy, with any luck, you will be brought back to the tonal, where you will have to address all of the issues that you didn't take responsibility for when you were required to do so. So the tonal and the Nagual must be balanced in any sorcerer's revolution. So revolution also implies subverting the social order. But as a sorcerer is not primarily, unlike ordinary people, concerned with the social order, he's concerned with subverting the known social order, or the cultural order, let's say. The acculturation that has imprisoned you in cultural constructs, in concepts, in linguistic codes, in codification, in language. How do you define meaning? Do you question the words that you use? All of this they are means inherited from culture. Unless you can subvert this acculturation process, you're not going to attain to the revolution. You're not going to attain victory in this revolution, because you'll be swamped in the means. You'll be swamped in confusion. You need to get your means in order. You've got to get your inventory in order. This is where recapitulation comes in. Sorting out what your memories mean, for example. And I'm not just talking about brain memory. I'm talking about cellular memory, bodily memory, where spiritual or sorceric knowledge is contained in the cellular structure, in the essence of a human being is not actually the flesh, blood and bones and cells and organs. It's the essence. Energy is the essence. Energy is the the primordial matter. It comes before the cell. It comes before the concept of the cell. So it comes before the cell and the concept, and it comes before any linguistic activity, any mentation, energy exists prior to all that. It is the a priori substance of existence. So contrary to the existential thought, to existentialists who say that existence precedes essence, and they get all confused about it with their strange postmodern concepts, I say that essence precedes existence. Essence comes first. So just think about that for a sec. While I think about what I'm going to say next. So, at risk of rambling on here, because I don't prepare any of these videos. Everything I do is off the cuff. It's from my own personal experience, from what I have read, what I have studied, what I have experienced, from my psychedelic trips, and the totality of my experience as someone on the warrior's path and who was aware of being a sorcerer from a very, very young age, an embarrassingly young age, possibly younger than Harry Potter himself, and that's why I came before him, and I was thinking about these things. I was aware of these things. I realised that I was onto something magical. I could experience the magic. My whole childhood was like that. Magical, colourful, mysterious. Okay, so it's something I got into later in adult life and explored it on a more sophisticated level, because we can't have this sort of childlike magic around us all the time. When we have to sort out more serious matters and we can't attend to the magic of the world. So you can forget about all that magical and mystical nonsense. When you have to pay your bills and you have to do your groceries, you don't have to be tuned into that. You can press a button and there it is, and you can switch it off. You have the on-off switch for the tonal and nagal, so to speak. So, but the important thing is, in self-mastery and sorcery in this revolution, is to do things by hours. And so what are the practices I recommend? Number one, absolutely essential, is the practice of interior silence, inner silence, meditation. Sit still, close your eyes, shut up. Don't speak, don't think. No, easier said than done, but with practice it comes. I've been doing it 20 years now, but I've had some time off, some considerable time off, because I too struggle under the trials and tribulations of daily life, and sometimes the challenges are overwhelming, and I'm not in the right emotional state to cultivate. But I do my best, and I have retained these insights that I want to share with you. So I think they can help you. I think they can help you because, no matter what happens in the tonal world, no matter what happens in the news, no matter what happens in your family, remember that in the world is only a limited expression of the totality. That's what I'm saying. So society and everything that's going on, current affairs, politics, and all that stuff, the gender wars, it's really only a very small part of the totality, because we are multidimensional beings and we live in a multi-dimensional universe. If I could think of a better way to say it, I would. Okay? So we need to cultivate such practices as meditation, because when thoughts slow down, and when they occupy less space in our minds, more energy and information can get in from awareness, from the totality sphere. It's thoughts, because it's our thoughts that keep our assemblage point in the same position. It keeps that world in order. But if you identify with it, then your assemblage point will be fixed in the same position for the remainder of your life, and you will never get access to this new level of awareness. You'll never be part of this sorcerer's revolution, this revolution of consciousness, of ideas, that's spreading through the universe, through the dimensions of consciousness, and through the organic and inorganic worlds. Let me give you an example of what I mean when I say inorganic awareness. Now, I know that I'm throwing concepts out here in the wind, but I want you to understand something, a different way of looking at the world. Okay? Now, some say sorcerers are a bit crazy, right? Or shamans, they're all they're experiencing is simply self-delusion and hallucinations, and they don't belong to the way we understand things in the world and the way we categorize things. So therefore, they don't exist. They're not real. You are experiencing some kind of mental breakdown or disorder. But this only happens if you forget about the tonal and just spend all your time in the nagwal. You're going to lose your marbles. You're going to go crazy because simply it's too overwhelming. The onslaught of energy and information from the other worlds is overwhelming, and you simply can't function. I mean, if you smoke DMT, for example, you're in a totally different world, a totally different universe, populated by entities and all kinds of strange phenomena, let's say, that just make living in this everyday reality impossible. You can't function in that state. You're not meant to, So this inorganic intelligence. Now we see people today in society on their mobile phones with their faces glued to their phones, 24 hours a day. Exaggerating a little bit, but you go on buses and trains, and there they are on their phones all day long. And without judging that in any normal social sense, I'm not talking about the dangers to society or the social order because of people's attachments to their mobile phones. What I'm saying rather is that this attachment, this obsession with mobile technology and with computers is actually human intelligence and artificial intelligence coming together. It's merging. So it's like human and non-human consciousness is merging into this artificial intelligence. This inorganic energy is merging with organic energy, and it just appears or manifests in this way, in this time, in this dimension, as computer and mobile phone addiction. But it really, in the sorcerer's world, it means something very different, right? This is what I mean. And this is what Don Juan means when he says it, when he talks about in Tales of Power, the sorcerer's explanation. The sorcerer's explanation is based on the sorcerer's understanding. When the assemblage point moves to a place of pure understanding, the sorcerer sees or perceives something directly, and he has a whole new story to tell, because what is happening in his life and what has happened in his life now takes on entirely new meaning. Every event, every circumstances from his birth to his childhood to growing up and the whole evolutionary process, all of it is infused with new meaning, new ideas, new um, events. Well, they're only new in the sense that they've been revolutionized. Their meaning has been revolutionized, and the energy has liberated us, you see, from this revolution. So, what I'm talking about, I understand that what I'm talking about is very abstract, and it will sound like nonsense to a lot of people, but if you hang with me and you give it a shot, you too can be part of this extraordinary adventure. So this is what the revolution is. It's the Sorcerers' Revolution, and it is happening right now. And you don't even need to leave your living room to take part, because awareness is always present. It's ever happening here and now. This is where the whole universe is going on. So this is the whole show, the entire event is happening here now. So there is no place to go to experience it. But at the same time, you do go places. You don't need to travel through 50 or 100 countries. You travel through 100 different worlds, or 600 new worlds in a different state of consciousness, and you bring back power, you bring back energy, you bring back stories from the unknown. And the unknown is the Nagual, the spirit, the mystery, the great mystery, as the Native Americans would call it. So thanks for listening. That's all I've got at this precise moment. But if you have any questions, just feel free to go ahead and ask. I'll do my best to answer. So bye for now.